So industry analysis is a technique which helps you break down the industry into the components to help you understand industry a little better and to make it easier for everyone else also to understand it. Right? It is basically a technique to structure your thoughts, your findings around the industry. Right? Why do you do that? Because you're trying to enter a new market. You're trying to figure out a new product opportunity. You are basically trying to move key metrics that your company tracks. Um, and also when you're trying to build a new product, right? You need to understand your competition, your the context, the regulations, the government regulations, right? The substitutes, whether this product is replicable or not, right? Is the market patent driven or not, right? So industry analysis is something that helps you do all these things. uh, yeah. To give an example, I have taken industry analysis for doing market entry. Now, when you enter the market, for a market entry, let's say we have a problem. Should let's say Google enter into uh, Netflix market or not, or the market which is captured by Hotstar or Netflix or not, right? So the first thing that you have to do is whether the industry is attractive enough or not, right? It does not make sense for any business to enter into a new market if that industry is not good, right? So you have to establish this, that whether the industry is attractive or not. The other is whether the industry aligns with the vision of Google or not, right? So let's say there is a automobile brand called Lexus. You would not see, though, let's take an example of, let's say, toaster, right? Now you would not see Lexus building toasters, because though the market is attractive, right? Everyone needs toaster, the market is huge, and Lexus is, it's quite innovative, so it can come up with innovative toaster and launch it, right? But it does not align with the vision of the company. The company manufactures automobiles, right? So it does not align with the vision. So the market entry is dependent on industry attractiveness. It depends on the vision of the company. The third is whether it achieves your business goal or not, right? So for example, industry is attractive and it aligns with a business goal. But if we talk about Google, so Google would be having, I mean, I don't know the revenue numbers, but let's say it has a revenue of $100 billion or $200 billion, right? Now its goal is to enter into a market which would help increase its revenue by, let's say, 5%, which is $5 billion, right? Now, uh, for you or for anyone, a $1 billion revenue could make sense, but for Google it does not. And if this industry, which is a video industry, shows industry, TV shows industry, basically the content industry, if it does not give Google a jump of $5 billion, it does not make sense for Google to enter into that market. But for a startup, I mean, if it is giving you $1 billion, it makes sense for them to enter. That industry is attractive, and they should enter the market, right? So there are multiple things that goes into the that goes whether you want to enter the market or not. And in industry, and attractiveness is one of the key parameter. Now, to do the industry attractiveness, basically there are five things that I've listed down here that you can do. So one is you need to understand whether what the size of the market is, whether it is growing, and in what stage of it, in what stage it is at this point in time. Then you need to understand your customers in terms of whether the customers are willing to pay, what is the income segment, and do they have any loyalty, switching cost, etc. You need to understand the value chain, like who are the substitutes, the competitors, who are the suppliers, how they work, do they have what sort of bargaining power do they have, are they more dominating, right? Then the barriers, whether the industry is patent driven, or let's say the industry is user driven. For example, it is very difficult to enter social media market because there is a network effect barrier. right? So Facebook has a lot of users, right? So there is this barrier. Then there could be regulatory barrier. For example, it is very difficult to work in China because there is a regulatory barrier. Then there could be high investment required, right? So for example, if you want to move into let's say real estate market, right, you need to have high investment, you need to invest a lot of money upfront, right? So there is then the barrier is high investment required. Then there are risks. So risk could be a political risk, economic risk, social risk, etc., right? So this is a framework with which you can analyze the industry and figure out whether the industry is good enough or not. So
Sanchit, one question. So this industry analysis framework is individually done by PM, or it involves involvement of other team members as well?
So a PM role is a very collaborative role, right? So there is nothing that you would be doing alone, but you would be responsible for a lot of things, and there is always an input that you have to take from a lot of other people, from other stakeholders, right? So when you're doing industry analysis, you are responsible for driving it, for doing it, but you can always ask your stakeholders, do you want to add anything, or do you think it makes sense, right? So it is very collaborative role in that way.
Okay, so we have some metrics to capture all these data points that you have mentioned for
Yes,
this analysis.
we'll go to the product metrics. I think probably in like 15-20 minutes.
Sure. Thank you.